Assalamu alaikum. We're back for the second segment of BFA's On The Ball. We had the little kids on the show earlier, so thank you to the three boys and Nicola also on the way home now. They've got school in the morning, so once again, appreciate the time, and hopefully next week we're looking forward to having some Tower Hamlets Youth League kids on and sharing some of the results about that as well. So that's the kids sections out of the way. Let's move on to a bit of adult football. CFL action that took place down at Wanstead today, but with us to talk about adult football and CFL in particular, I have a couple of special guests. Don't forget, guys, the phone numbers at the bottom of the screen. Call in. I hope we're going to get a few calls, a few interesting. Every week we have questions and we have debates about a certain topic, so we've decided today to get someone, a couple of them in, to discuss it in more detail. To my right, we have someone who might be very familiar with a lot of the footballers out there in Tower Hamlets and beyond maybe as well. George, one of our most experienced referees from BFA and I guess also the community football. Welcome, you all right?
Good evening, yes.
Good. And to my left we have regular pundit, Mr. Shuel. How you doing, you all right?
I'm good, thanks.
Good.
Sore, but yeah, good.
A bit so, we can talk about why you're sore a bit later. And Abu, how you doing?
Assalamu alaikum.
Usually listen to you on the other side of the phone. It's nice to have you on the show for a change. How's it going, okay?
Yeah, fine,
good.
Thank you.
Right, do you know what? I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I want to talk about referees and I want to know how you guys get involved with football. And what I want to do is just an open chat and just let's be candid and let's not hold back from both ways. You know, as players, you both play a bit, or I know George does, but more important today, George, I want you to put on your referee's hat. For those that don't know and that are maybe have seen you for the first time, give us a bit of background about yourself, how you got involved with refereeing and how long you've been involved with, I guess, Tower Hamlets football.
Yeah, first one I started is about 8 years ago.
Okay.
Starting youth on Saturdays and adults on Sundays. Start with the summer league and winter. It was quite good, even youth. But from 8 years ago to until now, they progressing every year. Even now, I think for 1 or 2 years they go academy.
Yeah.
Bengal they go academy, which is good for the kids, even for the league. Some of the kids playing Saturday and they come play for adults, 1 or 2, and it's quite good. It's quite good.
But what about yourself in terms of your refereeing career, your amateur refereeing? How far are you down the ladder with regards to your licenses? And are you quite? Do you just referee amateur Sunday league football, or do you do?
No, I've got another leagues, but I'm concentrating more of this.
Okay. Especially
on Sunday because there's about 2-3 games, which is most of the day, and Saturday I've got youth.
Yeah. So it keeps you busy more than anything else. Right. Abu, yourself, obviously you're refereeing at a slightly more senior level. You're part of the Essex League, aren't you? Okay, hold that thought. We can chat to you in a second. We have our first call of the evening. Good evening, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to BFA's On The Ball show. What would you like to say?
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Who do we have on the line?
I don't want to tell my name or where I am calling from, but what I do want to ask is, how much has football changed for the Bengali community in the last 20 years, in your opinion?
In my opinion? Okay, thank you for that call. All right, good question. I'm going to allow my weekly pundit to start and maybe respond. 20 years, how has it changed?
I've only been around 20, no, I'm joking.
Yeah.
I think it's changed dramatically. Starting off from, both has been northerners, I think, from what we saw up north to, just coming down to London and seeing the change initially when I came here, and the level of, I'd say, organisation in terms of the football has been, I'd say, really good. But I'd say recently, especially with the Sporting Academy, I think things have jumped heaps and bounds. We always talk about if these opportunities were around with some of the players that we knew when we were younger. I'd say we probably would have had a lot more Asian footballers sooner rather than later, I think, in certain ways. But at the same time, it's better sooner rather than later in that respect. So I think it's good. I definitely think it's moved forwards heaps and bounds, definitely. I think the quality of the football we're having in Sunday League football has actually gone up as well, certain ways as well.
All right,
definitely.
Well, that's interesting. But George, you've seen it firsthand. You've been around, you say, 8 years.
8 years.
In the last 8 years that you've been refereeing, you've played at a decent level yourself at football, so you've got the license to, I guess, spot a good footballer.
Yeah.
In your opinion, has the standard of let's say Bangladeshi football, because that's what you can talk about,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
Asian
yeah.
football in Tower Hamlets, from where it was 8 years ago to where it is now? Has it gone up? Be honest, has it gone
Yeah, of
up
course,
or
of
has
course.
it, has it
No,
gone down?
I'm honestly serious. Even today, it was FC Bengal E7. Probably
Probably not the best game to judge.
it's not the best game, but what I try to say is,
Yeah.
especially on the FC Bengal, probably 10 players for them they play semi-pro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm not gonna say everyone, but 10 players they say semi-pro. So
Yeah.
I think it's good when players they play high level
Yeah.
and come and play here on Sunday.
Yeah,
I think they give a good push
yeah.
to the other teams.
Okay.
Even
But
E7
the question was around Asian footballers in particular, footballers, not
Yeah, yeah,
about
yeah.
so Asian. Let's say Bangladeshi footballers.
Okay.
Do you see individuals who have grown over the years, or do you see the ability going backwards, or are we going in the right direction?
No, I think you're going forward. You're going the right direction.
Okay.
You're going the right direction. I'm not gonna name anyone,
Yeah.
but I think there's quite good players. We
Okay.
can go now. We can play on the higher level.
Okay. But what's stopping them then? Is it, in your opinion?
Well, it's nothing stopping them. Just you probably have to have a little bit of luck and someone to come and watch you and just go forward.
Okay.
Another team.
I think so.
Abu, yeah.
Just in regard to that, the question the brother just said, we have to look at the Sporting Bengal team. I think looking at the squad, I think we've got about, I can say, 5 players that actually play in the first 11.
Mhm.
And obviously being a volunteer with Sporting Bengal, the team has progressed a lot, and so we've got to give a lot of to Sporting Bengal management and BFA how well they've progressed over the last 20 years.
Okay. You mentioned Sporting Bengal, and that in reality that is a question that pops up all the time. You know, Sporting Bengal is by name represents I guess a certain part of you know, southern South Asia and Bangladesh in particular, but the representation hasn't been there in recent years. But you just mentioned 5 years, 5 players. You were there yesterday. Atmosphere. Tell us a bit about. Were you there at the game yesterday between Clapton and Sporting?
I was
Bengal?
there yesterday. Sporting Bengal, they won 2-1 against Clapton. They actually could have scored more goals. We hit the crossbar, post. So I think
A game I missed.
it was a very great game, and obviously Clapton, they had a lot of fans, so it was a great atmosphere as well.
Yeah. So the in terms of the Sporting's season this year, it's not been the best. But do you think yesterday's result can give them a bit of a lift?
I think it will, and hopefully going forward it should be the turning point. The last 4 or 5 weeks they've had a really bad result, but I think winning against Clapton, they're about 4th in the league.
Yeah, they're doing really well.
And I think this will help Sporting Bengal going forward. And not even that, they have had a lot of I think this season Mumbai has not had consistent players every week. It hasn't been the same 11. I think again it's because of injury, family commitments and work commitments, so he's had to juggle the squad about.
Yeah, and it's like with anything else though. You have one problem Sporting Bengal don't have is creating chances, and I think anybody who goes to watch Sporting Bengal will see that. It's just unfortunate. I think, I don't know, Abu, you go to, you're there every week. A striker is needed. I'm right saying that?
I'll be honest, I think one player we're missing this year is Carlos.
Yeah.
He was incredible. He's like the Suarez of South American football. I think we're missing the cutting edge, finishing off the chances, and I think we haven't had no out and out goal scorer this season yet.
Okay, so the goals have been shared throughout the team, haven't they?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. But let's. I hope that's answered the question. In my opinion, I think that there was a period where Asian football, or I can only speak. I guess you're asking about Tower Hamlets football. The organisation of the structure is definitely here, but I think Danny was on the show last week or the week before, and he mentioned it. For me, it's about going out of your comfort zone and going to challenge yourself against better teams. So, you know, rather than just staying local, I think every now and again get yourself out nationally and go and play in some tournaments to see where you're at and challenge yourself against the best. You know, we were talking about FC Bengals, and you know, Drugs was on the show last week and saying how they weren't happy and about being called FC non-Bengals. But this is your opportunity, guys. If you're an Asian team or a Bengali team who's playing in the CFL League, you're playing against, George mentioned it, potentially a full team full of semi-pro footballers. That's your opportunity to test yourself to see how good you are. So don't don't hold that against anyone. Maybe take it as a challenge. Personally, I don't think the standard is where it should be. And I've been watching the levels. When I came here, I actually thought it was very good, but I think over the last few years it's gone down. Why that is, I'm not sure. There seems to be a new crop of generations that have missed. There was a period where they probably didn't get the right coaching, and or they didn't play, or they stopped playing. I don't think the level's there within the Asian football.
It's not just that.
Go on.
I don't know. This is second season, yeah, when the league is split in two, yeah.
Yeah, we're just talking about general Asian footballers in general. We're not talking about the league.
Yeah,
we're talking about Asian footballers in general in the community. Are we going to probably progress? I know what you say,
but what I try to say is even on this league, yeah, you go 10 teams in Premier.
Yeah.
4, which is quite good. The number 6.
Yeah.
It's just to be 10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before.
Yeah.
No, I tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Because before you go every week, you go free derby. Like Stepney play Bromley, Tigers play Beaumont or things like this. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you go every week, scores like 10-0, 7-1, things like this.
So what you
which is not really enjoyable, okay?
Yeah, okay.
So I think.
So that basically answers my question. So you're telling me
yeah.
that the standard of Asian football isn't that good?
I think it's not too bad, especially because you got teams like FC Bengal coming, and I think they give a good push. If Bengal is not there, I think the standard is going down. But because of Bengal, I think even for today's game, E7, they try to make a best team to challenge them. Because they know they are a really good team, and like you just said before, they taste them to see what they are. If it's good to play on this level, or
okay, I think that's fair. But like I say, in my opinion, I think that it's my opinion. You know, I think there's a lot of work to be done, and this is where the academies and the coaching from the clubs and Tower Hamlets Youth League comes into place, because the structure is definitely there. It's just about working on a more regular basis and in a more structured way. And Nicola mentioned it's that structure, not just doing having a session or a training session for the sake of having a session and running around the block and then playing five-a-side, but actually working on tactics and working on formations and working with individuals to understand the game. Because for me, it's a lack of understanding. Our Asian boys do not understand the football. I'm not saying I do, but I think we need to all maybe work together in somehow improving the coaching abilities within our community and get more kids going on level 2s and potentially UEFA Bs and level 3s, etc. So that way, and bring that into the community and help our children help each other as well. That's the next step for me. But yeah, I actually don't. In answer to your question, I actually don't think the level's where it should be. But yeah, that's my little rant over in response to that question. Sorry. So let's go back to refereeing. Now, Abu, you referee at senior level on a Saturday. What's the difference between Saturdays and Sundays, in your opinion?
I think it's more professional.
What do you mean by professional?
It's more professional. The standard is very high. It's very high, and you can see there's a challenge, and there's a bit more expectation that you need to up the game, if as players, as referees.
Okay. All right, we've got another call on the line. Assalamu alaikum. I think we have someone by the name of Abdul on the line. Assalamu alaikum, welcome to the show. What would you like to say? Okay, apologies. That's obviously not Abdul. All right, so yeah, George, from your perspective with regards to now you've played a bit of football as well, and you've represented Sporting Bengal.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
For 1 year.
1 year ago? Or?
No. For played for 1 year. That was about.
Was that in the Kent League?
Kent League, yeah.
Okay. Who was the manager at the time?
Sana.
Sana. Okay. And so I watched you play actually. Funny enough, a few weeks ago, I saw you down at the Power League on a Friday night. You're pretty useful. What made you stop?
Got a bad injury on my knee, ligaments and cruciate ligaments and meniscus, and after surgery, and it's hard to come back, to be honest.
Okay, so is that why you got into refereeing?
That's what I'm going. Yeah, I want to do something for football. I try to coaching kids, refereeing. I try to be part of the sport of the football. So
okay, all right.
I've got my work. I'm working, but I want to do sport because I like.
Of course, you love it. We all love it. If you can be involved in one way or another, that's
I can't be away with that. So I love it.
Okay, all right. Listen, I think we've got the results. So if my producer can whisper in my ear, do we have the results for today? the results are going to come in a second. We're just having a bit of a technical issue. Okay, so let's talk about CFL today with regards to some of the results. I'm going to ask about Saya. You're playing in the game. What was your score today?
Elsa finished 2-2. It was a good game overall, I think, across the whole pitch. Both teams battling. Like I said, if you remember one of our first shows, I think you asked me how Elsa were as the new team that came in, and I said I'm kind of glad we saw them very early on in the league, on the basis that we didn't want to play them later on. But I think this time around when we did play them, I did see the difference in their team there. I think they've expanded the squad, so it looks really good now in terms of depth in their squad as well. So they were bringing subs on that were of quality as well. So I think overall, they played really well. So
okay, so we've got the results, Division 1. So we'll go through Division 1 results today that went down at Wenstead Park. Newark beating Poplar 3-0. Well done to Newark. Continue their winning ways, looking to go and win that title. Aberfeldy keep winning 4-2 against Seoul. IFE losing 7-3 to Brick Lane. Well done to Brick Lane, getting their winning tracks on again. And Elsa, we just talked about your result. Saya drawing 2-2 with Elsa. They're a team that have improved now, and they've had management change.
Yep.
Recently, and we talked about it when Enam was on a few weeks ago. And Abu, I know you're involved at E7, so that's obviously had an impact. Abu, I'm going to come to you with regards to Elsa. The team was brought about. Why?
I think for the transition period, obviously the reason why they've set it up Elsa is because obviously E7 have a summer league team, which is known as Hackney stroke E7 Probashi, and the crop of Bangladeshi players we have in the summer league, they're not actually good enough, to be honest. So because of this, the committee decided to set up a second team, especially for Bangladeshi players, so that they can play the whole season and then be ready for the summer league. And usually we haven't had, last 2 years they've been in the Premiership. They haven't had quality Bangladeshi players, and we're always struggling relegation battles, and we're depending favours on other teams for results to go out away.
All right. Well, we've got you can see the first division table on the screen in front of you if you're watching at home, and as you can see, Brick Lane still top of the table, followed by Newark. But bottom of the table still on no points. IFE, you're my team. Come on, get me something, man. Every week I'm telling you guys, but you're nearly there. There wasn't a bad result today. Like I said, Brick Lane's always going to be a tough game, but you're scoring goals. You need to shut up at the back, guys. Stop them goals. Maybe invest in a couple of defenders. Find yourself. It seems like if you can keep a clean sheet, you're going to win a game, because you've scored goals against some good teams. So scoring 3 against Brick Lane isn't that bad. So
you should transfer over for him, I think.
That game in particular, Brick Lane. Now the boys that down at Brick Lane, and obviously you've seen IFE.
Yep.
Are you still sticking to your guns? Do you think Brick Lane are going to take the title?
I mean, yes, I'm still going to hold on with Brick Lane. I think it is. Don't forget, the last game of the season is Brick Lane Newark. I think we've got Brick Lane next week. So
you could have a big say.
Yeah, I think every team potentially can have a big say in this, because I think there's not just two, because Aberfeldy is slowly creeping up here as well, aren't they? So they're holding strong there as well potentially. So I think.
Well, what's going on at Saya though? Because obviously you start the season, you started it really well.
Well, yes.
You look like is it just a case of injuries or just players not turning up?
No, it's injury. I mean, again, I think we had 15, 16 today, so numbers are good. They're always good, usually. I think last week was probably our lowest turnout in a long time, but injuries have been really a lot. I mean, a few of the lads who weren't working are now working, and they're working weekends and so forth, so we've lost a couple of players on that respect. But overall, I'd say with key players, our captain's still injured. I mean, Gary, get well soon. I think he's back next week. I think he's itching to get back, especially against Brick Lane. So I think with a few of these people coming back, I think we'll start moving in the right direction again. All
right, George, have you refereed any of the first division games yet? You've got Newark, Poplar. Have you seen any? What's the first division standard like, in your opinion? Have you seen Brick Lane play?
No.
No. So do you just referee the Premiership games?
Yes.
Okay, we'll talk about Premiership in the final segment. So, but with regards to the first division, and you've been down there. You're down one step most weeks. What's your take on it?
I'm actually going to be honest. I actually think the first division is more competitive than the Premiership, because if we looking at the tables, I think it's very close. And if you look at the Premiership, it's like it's all one-sided, and
Yeah.
FC
Not
Bengal,
I think people have kind of switched.
Yeah.
FC Bengal, FC Bengal is running away with it.
Yeah.
And me personally, as a referee, and I'm sure even George will agree with it. Obviously, once we are allocated the fixtures, it's gonna be a one-sided affair, and like as referees, you feel like very demotivated.
Okay. That would explain a lot.
Yeah.
Demotivated.
Wonder why all the decisions go one
That's
way.
no
I
good.
guess
You
though.
can't be going into a
And
pitch
it's
being
like
demotivated.
it's like what just to touch on what George said earlier. Like if it was first against second, we know it's going to be a very competitive game. But if it's like you're having FC Bengal playing another team, you know it's going to be a one-sided affair. And the other thing I've seen as well this season, especially our top clubs, big clubs such as Mohammedan, even E7, their results have not been. They're losing like 4 or 5-0. Like I think today,
Yeah, we can talk about the Premiership in there. But in your opinion, like I said, you've mentioned the First Division. But who's going to take the First Division then? If it's so tight, in the team that you've seen so far, who looks the strongest? Or is it going to be my outside bet?
I'm actually going to go for Aberfieldy.
Well, that's what I said at the beginning of the season. So they're coming strong, aren't they?
Yes, I think I'm going to go for Aberfield. They're very energetic, a very young squad, and I think that they're going to go far.
They might surprise everybody. And like I
Even
said, the second half
CFL
of the season now. As the second half has started, hasn't it, officially?
This was the first game
week.
of the second
so
half, yeah.
it'll be interesting. So Aberfeldy, it's in your own hands, guys. You're my tip, so come on. IFE next week, I want you guys to take a point, please. Listen, stop conceding goals. I know it's easy for me to say. I concede about 5-6 every week, but stop conceding goals. You're going to win a game. You get one clean sheet, I guarantee you will win it. So good luck, guys. Listen, we're done with the First Division. We're going to come back and we're talking about the Premiership, and hopefully we can get a bit more input from George because he's seen the boys. And also we've got highlights from the FC Bengals versus E7 that happened down at Wanstead today. So go and make yourself a coffee and we'll see you in 2 minutes.